Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're back with the Age of Apocalypse, and we're going to talk about X-Men #1. So back when I was a kid, I thought this was the origin of Cable. I wasn't living in the States when the Adventures of Cyclops and Jean Grey came out, where you had the real origin of Cable. And around 1995, I had returned to the United States for a brief time. That's when the Age of Apocalypse came out. And when I picked up this first issue, I was really pumped. I thought, finally, we get the origins of one of my all-time favorite characters. One of the first comic books that I ever picked up was a Wolverine and Cable team-up in the Wolverine series. Then I found out that this character was in the pages of New Mutants and later on in X-Force. So later on, when I found out that Cable and X-Men were not the same character and that Cable had a different origin, first I was completely dumbfounded. Because technically, X-Men is not an alternate version of Cable. Cable's parents are Cyclops and Madeline Pryor, while X-Men's parents, even though he was genetically engineered, are Cyclops and Jean Grey. So this issue starts off, we have X-Men, he's having like these type of visions. He's seeing things from his past and his present, and seemingly he has slipped into the astral plane. So what happens is he wakes up from his trance, and the first person that he sees is Forge and his team. You have Toad, Sauron, Mastermind, and when I was a kid, I thought that the last character was the Blob, like a buffed out Blob, but nope, it's Sunder. So we discover that Forge is a mix between mentor and caretaker of X-Men. He scolds him that he fell into this trance state, he used his powers. Unknowingly, while in this state, he just destroyed this very large area of woods. And Forge tells him, look, when you use your powers, Apocalypse is going to realize he's going to send someone to take you down. Because one of the important parts of the Age of Apocalypse is that Insawa was hell-bent on taking down every single telepath. Basically, he saw characters that had this power to be the only liability to his reign. So what we discover is that Forge and company are basically this traveling theater crew. They're roaming around the American Midwest and trying to keep a low profile. The story cuts to Insawa, who is informed by the Shadow King that he felt the presence of an extremely powerful telepath, that he should look into it, and what Apocalypse does immediately, he sends in one of his most dangerous assassins, which is Domino. And I have to say that the look that Domino has in the Age of Apocalypse is freaking awesome. So it's super cool to see Domino pop up in this series, because here we have another parallelism with Cable. Now, one thing I have to say with the character of X-Men in general is that when he left the Age of Apocalypse, they never developed any of his relationships that he had during the Age of Apocalypse in the normal 616 universe. With Nate, outside of, hey, I know you, or maybe a very, very vague reference, no writer takes advantage of this. Like in the 616 universe, you never see X-Men crossing paths with Forge or with Siren. He crossed paths with Domino, who tries to kill him later on in this series. There's no mention of that. Maybe showing him to be a little bit apprehensive when she's nearby, with maybe the only exception being Mr. Sinister. And very, very briefly with Apocalypse in the 12 crossover. That aside, let's get back to the story. So we have a wave of Infinities attacking the small town in the Midwest. X-Men and company set out to try to save as many people as possible and stop these Infinities, who are trying to round up people and take them to trains, very probably to be experimented on or to being converted themselves into Infinities. There, X-Men actually meets for the first time Siren, who by accident also was rounded up with the rest of the humans. She is saved by X-Men, and that's how the issue ends. Actually, I'm wrong, because on the last page, we have Forge's theater picking up a straddler on the side of the road, who is extremely obviously Mr. Sinister. So we're going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.